The loudest debate of modern history may have begun with the most misleading question of all: capitalism or socialism? Yet for a long time, these were not merely economic models, they were front lines. The same tension lay behind revolutions, worker uprisings, economic crises, and propaganda wars. And every generation has been forced to relive it. But there is a stark truth ideology textbooks rarely admit: no system ever worked the way it promised. Not once, not anywhere, because systems are not tested by elegant theories, but by war, famine, inflation, and collapse. When pressure hits, the mask comes off. This is precisely where the financial historian steps in, where money, power, and history collide. And nothing is as simple as it seems. The story begins long before the words capitalism and socialism were ever spoken. For most of human history, the economy was not an economy in the modern sense, it was a system of survival. Kings ruled by divine right. Landowners controlled everything. Peasants produced just enough not to starve. Progress moved at a glacial pace. Wealth belonged to land, labor, and war. The idea that an ordinary person could rise through trade, ideas, or innovation was considered almost madness. Then the world split open. The Industrial Revolution. Britain became a pressure cooker of coal, iron, capital, and relentless ambition. Machines replaced muscle. Factories replaced workshops. And for the first time in history, a new kind of power emerged: private capital. People could invest, take risks, and own assets on a scale once reserved for kings. Productivity exploded. Wealth poured in, but the cost was immense. Inequality spread faster than any society had ever experienced. Cities choked on pollution. Children worked brutal hours. Slums bred disease. Yet one fact could not be denied: capitalism was producing more goods, more wealth, and more speed than the world had ever seen. Socialism was born at this exact moment, not as a utopia, but as a reaction to the brutality of industrial capitalism. Marx and Engels looked at smokestacks and factory floors and concluded that the problem was not individuals, but the system itself. To them, capitalism was exploitation disguised as opportunity. The solution seemed clear: collective ownership, shared profits, and production organized around human needs. In theory, it was elegant, moral, and to millions crushed beneath early capitalism, it looked like justice. But theory is one thing. Reality is another. The first great experiment in socialism was not conducted in a lecture hall, but in the ashes of an empire. After 1917, the Soviets attempted to install a new operating system across a territory of 150 million people: state ownership, central planning, bureaucratic pricing, production quotas. Equality and efficiency in theory. In practice, information collapsed. With markets silenced, no one knew what people actually needed or how much to produce. Without competition, innovation withered. Without rewards, motivation collapsed. Shortages became routine, lines became culture. Even Lenin was forced to retreat, allowing limited private trade to keep the country alive. Yet socialism did not lose its appeal, because capitalism did not look successful either. In the early 20th century, growth was real, yes, but so were speculation, monopolies, and vast wealth gaps. The system created wealth, but failed to distribute it. When the crash came in 1929, this flaw became catastrophic. Banks collapsed, unemployment soared, financial systems imploded. For many, capitalism no longer looked flawed, it looked dangerous. By the 1930s, the world faced an uncomfortable truth: socialism promised equality, but delivered scarcity. Capitalism promised prosperity, but delivered collapse. Then came World War II, the most brutal stress test of all. Despite its inefficiencies, the Soviet Union mobilized enormous resources with terrifying speed. Meanwhile, countries like the United States demonstrated what private innovation could achieve when backed by national coordination. When the war ended, the debate ceased to be ideological. The scoreboard now showed GDP, infrastructure, growth, and living standards. From 1945 to 1991, the world became a real experiment: Soviet planning on one side, regulated capitalism on the other. The results were dramatic. The Soviet Union industrialized, literacy rose, military power expanded, but beneath the surface, the system cracked. Without price signals, production turned absurd. Rockets could be built, but decent refrigerators could not. Capitalism, meanwhile, did not become fair, but it adapted. Deposit insurance, social security, regulation, welfare states. It survived because it reinvented itself. The Cold War was not won by ideology, but by adaptability. When the Berlin Wall fell, many believed the debate was over. It wasn't. Capitalism evolved again, this time into something few 19th century thinkers could have imagined. Finance ballooned. Global supply chains spanned continents. Credit flowed freely. Inequality surged once more. The 2008 crisis served as a reminder that instability had never disappeared, it had merely changed shape. At the same time, socialism returned, not in Soviet form, but in softer demands: wealth taxes, free education, public healthcare, stronger unions. Housing crises and stagnant wages pushed younger generations to ask the same question: who does this system really work for? Step back, and the picture becomes almost embarrassingly clear. There is no pure capitalism. There is no pure socialism. Scandinavian countries protect markets while strengthening social security. The United States drives innovation while struggling with extreme inequality. China calls itself socialist but operates a form of state-guided capitalism. Every major economy is a hybrid. Because reality does not reward ideology, it forces compromise. And this is the core lesson of the text. Systems shape people, yes, but people also bend systems to their nature. Greed, ambition, fear, and creativity never disappear, they simply express themselves differently. In markets, power concentrates through wealth. In planned economies, it concentrates through politics. Different slogans, similar flaws. So the right question is not, which system is better? The right question is, who limits power? Who corrects mistakes? Who rewards useful behavior? History's answer is harsh but clear: the system that adapts survives. And the challenges of the 21st century, artificial intelligence, climate risk, demographic collapse, energy transitions, global debt, do not care about ideology. The winners will be those who best combine the creativity of markets with the resilience of public institutions. Because this debate was never truly about capitalism versus socialism. It was always about one thing: who controls the levers? Capital? The state? Banks? Corporations? Unions? Regulators? The real struggle has always been about power. And as history has shown us again and again, power never disappears, it only changes hands.